China poses the most serious long-term challenge to the international order. Now, that's the statement from U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken as he outlined the U.S. policy towards China in a speech on Thursday. But Blinken also says the U.S. is not looking for conflict nor a new Cold War and acknowledged the world's two largest economies must work together. Callebs has the details.
Now, in the speech today, really Blinken focused on a handful of things. One, obviously looking at the tremendous economic and military growth that China has had over the past couple of decades. Now, in it, Blinken said he wanted to counter by three things, really: invest, align, and compete. Well, what does that mean? Well, investing to counter China's growing power, both, as I mentioned, economically and from a military standpoint, and also in terms of alignment, because the U.S. has been shut out of so many trade negotiations. They've worked on the Quad Summit and the recent ASEAN special summit here in the United States just last week, strengthening ties with old friends around the world and fostering new relationships. Also talked about the AUKUS, that tie for security between the UK, Australia, and the United States. Now, in terms of competing, look, this is something many of us have heard over and over and over, going on to say that the trade differential between the United States and China simply cannot go on. It is just not sustainable. Well, presidents and administrations have been saying this now for quite some time, and no one's really found the way to move forward. Now, for all of the negative talk, if you will, Blinken did come out and said that, look, these two countries have a lot in common, and they need to find this kind of common ground to work together on, talking about climate change, but also saying the last thing the United States wants to do is step back into some kind of political yesterday.
We are not looking for conflict or a new Cold War. To the contrary, we're determined to avoid both. We don't seek to block China from its role as a major power, nor to stop China, or any other country for that matter, from growing their economy or advancing the interests of their people. But we will defend and strengthen the international law, agreements, principles, and institutions that maintain peace and security, protect the rights of individuals and sovereign nations, and make it possible for all countries, including the United States and China, to coexist and cooperate.
Now, in response, the Chinese embassy spokesman here in D.C., Liu Pengyu, issued just a short response, but in it he said that China and the United States share extensive common interest and profound cooperation potential. And he went on to say that there is, of course, competition in many areas, including trade, but it should not be used to define the whole picture of the U.S.-China relations. In this statement today, they said the China-U.S. relationship is at a critical crossroads, and went on to say, we hope the U.S. side will work with China to earnestly implement the common understanding reached by the two leaders to enhance communication, manage differences, and focus on cooperation to get bilateral ties back on track.